Mod tutorial. Downloading it is as simple as going to your workshop, selecting mods, and you can type in Custom Missile. And you just want Custom Missile Mod. There is Experimental Branch. I might actually download that, but it's not by the same person, so we'll see. Now that you've got it downloaded, you can go to Session, activate mods up here, scroll down and find Custom Missile Mod. Activate that. You will see a box pop up here and we'll go through it top to bottom. Information. You can read this if you want. There are mines and flares in the game. I don't really use them. I'm just going to go over the missiles. Targets. This is important. Target is what the Seeker head points towards. All players, it will go for everyone including you. If you go no players, it will only go for set targets. Other teams, it will go for the player on other teams, even if they're sitting in their seat. This is what you want to be using most of the time. Specific teams works as well if you're doing more than one team. And other players, exactly what you think it is. Specific player and all players. Cool. Targets wise, I don't know about these two boxes, I don't use them. Host options. I recommend not messing with this unless you want to. And that's it for the box. To make your Missile Seeker, simply pull out an eyeball, paint it this screen right here, and if it doesn't automatically switch to a Seeker, I click this here. 3 boxes here. Strength. This is how much force your missile uses to point towards the target. If you have a large missile with a lot of drag, say it's got big wings, I usually have it higher. If you've got a small, very nimble one, have it lower. For any anti-ship missiles, or small anti-air missiles, I usually just stick to 150. It seems to be the best. It doesn't snap onto your thing, it doesn't make your build instantly turn towards it. Activation distance, I don't know the scale for this, so I keep it at infinity. Detection cone, if it's 180, the missile can only see in front of it. If it's 360, it can also see behind it. 180 is the best because if your air missile misses, it won't wrap around and impact. So I keep this at 180. You do have to point the missile at it. You can also do 90, it works as well. Starting active, mine's glitched right now. I don't know how to fix that, but this just means that it will be active when it's still on your build. I think when it's disabled, what it's supposed to do is go active when it detaches and starts seeking. But in my experience, it detaches, it won't seek until I respawn my build. Very odd. C-lock, I don't use this. Lead target, it works. It will try to anticipate where the target. It's surprisingly smart. I don't really know how the creator did it. TRAILMAKERS of all. But I don't usually use it if I'm trying to get an accurate missile. But it does help if you're trying to stop your missile from, say, dipping into the water in certain scenarios. Use torque. Using force is just not the best. Using torque will point your missile towards something, but it won't pull it. The Seeker won't pull itself. Using force, the Seeker will pull itself even if it's got no thrust. That's this box. That's all you need to worry about this box. You have your Seeker here. For small surface-to-air missiles, I do not. It's pretty simple. Just thrusters, something to keep it straight, like a quantum rudder, and it will point towards the thing. Here's an example here. This is my attempt at a book M1. And if we set out a target to fly here, I forgot about this. Eyeball painted this color of blue right here. This here's a target block. The missile will target this here. I'm gonna make it so I'm not a target here, no players. So these missiles will simply point towards that. You can actually see it moving itself because they're already active. Now once I launch one of these, this is the problem with having no gimbal. He will fly low and then proceed to catch up. Before he impacts, we're going to look at the missile. Very simple. Seeker head in the front, explosive in the front, and then jets powered by this logic block at the back here and a quantum rudder for drag. Splash. Very simple. If you're trying to go for some bigger surface-to-air missiles, like this SA3 that I've built here, it's got a lot of drag, so the Seeker is actually set to 300 strength and I've got a gimbal in there to give it more altitude to just stop it from smashing into the ground on launch. It does, however, turn off after a second or two. So launching another drone here. He's gonna fly off. My missiles are tracking. Sometimes they won't, just, I don't know, respawn your build and it should work. And now if we launch a missile, you can see it's tracking pretty well. That gimbal is keeping it from dipping too low, but you'll see it turn off in a second and the missile will dip. There we go. So he actually got the track again even though he's set to 180. And he hit it there, just not with enough speed to detonate. Pretty cool. Anti-ship missiles. So anti-air missiles are pretty similar to the small anti-air missile, like the book that I showed you. Anti-ship missiles are more interesting I think, just because they're cooler and oh well. This is pretty much the most basic you can get without this booster section at the end that detaches. Seeker in the front, set to 250 strength. Well, I thought it was 150. But it's got detection cone of 180, 250 strength. Dynamite here for explosives. And this is the important thing, a gimbal. If your anti-ship missile wants to be sea skimming, and your target is obviously a ship, it will just dip below the water. It's got nothing to keep it above the water and due to the missile pointing towards the target, it will just dip. This gimbal here is powered by this altitude sensor. 7 meters and below, this gimbal will trigger and keep it above sea level. Very useful. And I'll give you an example right here. Okay, there we go. I forgot to activate the engine on this one, that's my bad. But you can see here, he did not dip below the water because the gimbal is simply keeping it up. It's a bit unrealistic because he will float at 0 speed, but it's worth doing. And that's the basics. If you want, you can venture into land attack cruise missiles. If we set up a target block right here, we come over here, we grab ourselves a bastion. Sorry, not a bastion. So, here are my Caliber or Iskander K land attack cruise missiles. So, launching them. I don't even know where he went. There he goes. He will fly just like the rest. He will fly with this gimbal, keeping it about 100. He's got wings, he's got engines, and he's got the Seeker at the front. The Seeker wants to point exactly towards the target. The altitude sensor keeps it at 100, but the closer it gets, the stronger the pull downwards is. So he will get lower and lower as soon as he gets close to the target. Therefore, I have a distance sensor here. Once it detects the ground, it will cut off the gimbal, because if the gimbal stays on, it will almost arc over and overshoot the target. The gimbal stops it from doing that, and it will hit straight towards the target. Obviously here, the launch wasn't right, and he just get close. But it works. You can use this for all of your Tomahawks, Calibers, CJ10s, whatever. And that's about it.